High school sports are one of the things that make living in California so great.
But sometimes the behavior in the stands can overshadow our achievements on the field.
I love it when my parents show up for me.
But being booed for missing a play could be crushing.
And remember that refs are people too.
They're trying their best to call a fair and correct game.
Hey, and enough with all the swearing.
No one should feel insulted or ashamed
because of their race, ethnicity, or gender.
We should be able to hold our heads high after the match, win or lose.
And welcome everyone to the SportsSceneTV.net weekly prep sports podcast. We are live streaming. Glad you could join us. I'm Anthony Serenana, and we are in week 2. Well, actually coming into week 3 now, but week 2 of the podcast. And the way CIF breaks down the schedule, you have week 0 for game 1, week 2, game 1, or game 2. Let me repeat that again. Week 0, week 1, week 2. So we just got past week 1, and we're glad you could join us. My name is Anthony Serenana, and you are watching the SportsSceneTV.net weekly prep sports podcast. We are live August 31st, 2022. Glad you could join us. And, we want to make sure that you get involved, and we really would like to see your comments. So definitely send in your comments, your questions, anything that you'd like to put a shout out. In fact, if you want, even give a shout out for yourself. Tell us where you're watching, and we would love to hear from you. We'll put your comments on the screen as well. Great show for you tonight. And make sure also you check in on our website throughout the week, SportsSceneTV.net. And that's where we post all of the latest news and updates. And don't forget, you can also find us on Twitter. Come game night, we got game coverage for you, game updates. That's at Sports Scene TV. And then, of course, our YouTube channel, Sports Scene TV 1. That's where we're streaming right now live. Also, we're streaming on our Facebook page, and that's at Sports Scene TV 2. We also have an Instagram page. That's right, folks. We're hitting all the social media. That's Sports Scene TV 1. So we're glad you could join us, and we got a big show for you tonight. We're going to kick into the scoring recaps of week 1 games, and we're going to bring up our scoreboard here, and let's go ahead and bring that up full screen. Our week 1 scoreboard takes us to Esperanza versus Walnut. It was a 28-20 game. And that was actually one of our game of the weeks. So you know what? We're going to show you the highlight segment. So let's go ahead and share that with you and show you how the outcome of that game went, just in case if you didn't see it. And so let's go ahead and head out to Walnut High School for the highlights for that game. Week 1 of the prep football season takes us out to Walnut High School as the Walnut Blue Thunder Marching Band welcomes everyone to Ken Gunn Stadium for the Thursday night football matchup between the Esperanza Aztecs and the Walnut Mustangs. The Aztecs come into the game with a record of 0-1 after a home loss to Diamond Bar 28-21. The Mustangs come into week 1 with a record of 1-0 after a big 34-0 shutout victory over Gary. Esperanza wins the coin toss and defers the ball to Walnut. On 4th down, the Mustangs' number 12, Sal Quintanilla, who is the team's quarterback and kicker, has the ball sail over his head. Quintanilla is able to recover the ball, but is tackled deep in the backfield, giving Esperanza great field position to start their drive. The Aztecs needed just 2 plays to score on this 18-yard touchdown run by number 10 senior running back Jesse Diansing. Esperanza put the first points on the scoreboard, taking the 7-0 lead with 7:28 remaining in the first quarter. Moving to the second quarter, on their second possession of the game, Aztecs quarterback number 13 David Lua shows off his passing skills by going to the air. The junior quarterback connects with Luke Sakata. The senior wide receiver makes the catch at the 2-yard line for a 12-yard pass play. Esperanza seals the deal as number 10 Jesse Diansing powers the ball forward to break the plane of the end zone and scores the touchdown. It's Diansing's second consecutive touchdown for the Aztecs as Esperanza opens the lead 14-0 with 10:54 remaining in the first half. Still in the second quarter, on 4th and 8 from the Aztecs' 24, Walnut elects to go for it. Mustangs quarterback number 12, Sal Quintanilla, throws this deep end zone pass intended for wide receiver number 11, Luke Sakata. The pass is incomplete, but the official throws the penalty flag against Esperanza for a pass interference. The Mustangs capitalize on the penalty as quarterback number 12, Sal Quintanilla, has to scramble but finds teammate number 2, Demetrius Scampley, in the end zone for the 11-yard touchdown pass. The extra point kick was unsuccessful, and Esperanza went into halftime leading Walnut. Moving to the fourth quarter, Walnut quarterback number 16, Sal Quintanilla, on the keeper, rolled to the right side and powered through 2 Esperanza defenders to score the touchdown from 4 yards out. Trailing 14-12, the Mustangs attempt for the 2-point conversion. Quintanilla's end zone pass finds number 21, Dorian Hall, wide open, who makes the catch. This ties the game up at 14 with 10:51 left in the fourth quarter. However, on the Aztecs' very next drive, Esperanza quarterback number 13, David Lua, connects with teammate number 4, Edward Kitchashvili, in the back of the end zone. The sophomore wide receiver makes the catch, and the Aztecs regain the lead 21-14 with 6:47 left in the fourth quarter. But Walnut would strike back again as Mustangs quarterback number 16, Sal Quintanilla, on the keeper, runs the ball into the end zone from 1 yard out for his 3rd touchdown of the game. The 2-point conversion attempt was unsuccessful, and Walnut trailed Esperanza 21-20 with 6:05 left in the game. On 4th and 1, Esperanza goes for the first down, but gets much more as the Aztecs running back number 10, Jesse Diunsing, runs the ball from 28 yards out into the end zone to score the touchdown with 28 seconds left in the game. The Esperanza Aztecs go on to get the victory over the Walnut Mustangs with a final score of 28-21. Esperanza improves their record to 1-1, and with the loss, Walnut is now 1-1 as well. We had a chance to talk to Mustangs head coach Eric Peralta after the game, and here's what he had to say.
Hey, you know what? I think early on, our execution wasn't what we wanted it to be. We cleaned some stuff up at halftime, and we'll just be able to kind of be ourselves in the second half. I think overall, this is what preseason's all about. You know, we come out here, we competed, we put ourselves in a situation to come out on top. Unfortunately, you know, hey, the ball didn't break our way. So, but I know the fight of this team. I know the heart of this team. They battle. They come every week to work hard. So I'm proud of them. I'm proud of the effort that they gave. And hey, let's get ready to roll next week.
So there you have it. Head coach Eric Peralta telling you about his team. And as we said, let's go back to the scoreboard here. The Esperanza Aztecs with a 28-20 victory, and really impressive. Jesse Diunsing, the running back, 25 carries, 183 yards, 3 touchdowns in that ball game. But also for Walnut, a shining spot, Sal Quintanilla, the quarterback, 9 for 19, 119 yards, and 3 touchdowns. And then our next game that we ended up covering, did 2 because that was a Thursday night game. Diamond Bar 27, Chino 7. That was the final. That was a Saturday night game. And guess what? We also have highlights for that game too. So why don't we go ahead and pull that up and get a chance to take a look and see that game between Diamond Bar and Chino, dubbed the Rodeo Roundup game. So let's take a look at it. Week 1 of the prep football season takes us out to Holmes Memorial Stadium on Elfeld Field at the campus of Diamond Bar High School, as the Diamond Bar Brahmas host the Chino Cowboys for a Saturday night game that was named the Rodeo Roundup. On the game's opening drive, the Brahmas' number 11, Isaiah Young, takes the handoff and picks up 16 yards before being tackled at the Chino 5-yard line. Young would close out the drive on this play, as he would take the handoff and go to the left side, getting the ball across the goal line before being tackled to score on the 5-yard touchdown play. The Brahmas take the lead over Chino 7-0 with 9:52 remaining in the first quarter. Fast forward to the third quarter, the Brahmas quarterback number 5, Abram Mejia, throws a pass to wide receiver number 3, Maddox Bernardino, who runs to the sideline and past 3 Cowboy defenders to score the touchdown on the 67-yard pass play. Diamond Bar extends their lead 14-0 with 8:01 remaining in the third quarter. Still in the third quarter, Brahmas quarterback number 5, Abram Mejia, shows off his arm power and throws a deep pass that connects with a wide-open number 14, Milo Medina, who makes the catch, and the wide receiver narrowly missing the touchdown as he's tackled at the 1-yard line for the 55-yard pickup. On the very next play, Diamond Bar running back number 11, Isaiah Young, with the handoff runs and leaps up and over into the end zone for the 1-yard touchdown score. The PAT was unsuccessful, and Diamond Bar leads Chino 20-0 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Moving into the fourth quarter on 2nd and goal from the Chino 2-yard line, it's Diamond Bar's number 11, Isaiah Young, to score his 3rd touchdown in the game, giving the Brahmas the lead 27-0 with 6:07 left in the game. Still in the fourth quarter on 1st and 10 from the Brahma 23-yard line, Cowboys quarterback number 17, Diego Ogata, from the shotgun fades back and launches a pass that's caught by teammate number 13, Sebastian Alvarado, who catches the ball in the end zone for the touchdown. However, Diamond Bar goes on to get the victory in the Rodeo Roundup game, 27-7 over Chino. The Brahmas' record is now 2-0 and will face Covina at home Friday night. The Chino Cowboys' record is now 0-2 and will play away against Baldwin Park. We had a chance to talk to Brahmas head coach Matt Castaneda after the game, and here's what he had to say.
Well, I'm head coach. I wasn't coaching tonight. Sportsmanlike conduct last week. We had a little bit of adversity, so our next guy up, defensive coordinator, hell of a coach, stepped up as our head coach and OC tonight, so wins on him and props to him, so I'll let him speak.
Yes, sir. I mean, we preach to the kids since day one that it's always the next man up. We never see it on the other side, but the coaching staff, unfortunately, this whole week with penalties, we were unable to have Coach Matt on the field. I was able to step up as the head coach, OC, and the players played out, man. I mean, but like I said, it's the next man up mentality. So moving forward, we get Coach Matt, and I'm excited to see what's to come. I told the kids, you know, it's much more than football. It's about life. I mean, these are going to be great men growing up. But week one, I told these guys there's going to be something that doesn't go your way. There's going to be something, whether it's interception or fumble, something's going to not go your way. And we've seen the adversity against Esperanza. We were up 21-7, and they came back to a 21-point lead. And then after we were able to put a 2-minute drill up and win the game 28-21, we didn't think we would be in this type of situation, but the fact that this team is to be able to step up in adversity shows how great they'll be able to persevere in tough situations, so it's exciting to see.
So there you have it, the Diamond Bar Brahmas coming away with the victory, 27-7, and the running back for the Brahmas with 29 carries, Young, 134 yards, 3 touchdowns, and the wide receiver for Diamond Bar, Maddox Bernardino, who is on max prep right now, the number 1 receiver in yardage. I believe he's got about 400 or 500 yards carries or catches. In this game, 3 receptions, 83 yards, 1 touchdown. You heard Coach Matt Castaneda. He wasn't there on the field for the game. Guess they were hit with some unsportsmanlike conduct last week, so he had to sit out. As offensive coordinator stepped in, the whole team coaching staff did a great job in just maintaining the team and moving in the right direction. They pick up their 2nd victory of the game, and the starting quarterback for Diamond Bar left the game with a little banged up. So that's why they did more of the run game for a while. But then they allowed Abram to go ahead and just start throwing the ball, and Bernardino with a nice catch for a touchdown as well. Let's go ahead and move on to our next slide here. Ayala 28, Etowanda 7. And of course, we want to remind you coming up in segment 2, make sure you stay tuned because head coach AJ Gracia was kind enough to record his interview with us because of the heat. His team is actually practicing right now, but he stepped in, did an early afternoon interview. So we appreciate him for doing that. So make sure you stay tuned for that. But Ayala with the big victory over Etowanda, 28-7, the final score. Nick Baez and the Etowanda Eagles looking to get that first win, but unable to do it against the Bulldogs. In that game, junior quarterback Brian Wilson, 9 for 17, 312 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. And we're going to talk more with Coach AJ Gracia more about Brian's maturity from when we saw him as a freshman quarterback till now. So we look forward to talking to Coach. And if you have any comments that you want to share with us, you can do that. All you have to do is when you log on, whether it's on Facebook, I believe also on YouTube, it's going to ask to give StreamYard a permission to receive your comments. All that is StreamYard is the platform we're live streaming. So click OK, and then we can see your comments and post them, and you can show your support for your favorite team. Let's go to move on to the next slide. Chino Hills, folks, 50. Diamond Ranch 0. The Chino Hills Huskies, the real deal as well, with a 2-0 record so far. And they're still steamrolling under their new head coach this year. Moving on, Alta Loma 34, Don Lugo 20. And in that ball game for Alta Loma, their running back, Mr. Casey, oh my gosh, you take a look and see 15 carries, 103 yards, total 3 touchdowns. And on the flip side, you have Sam Plunkett, the quarterback for Lugo, 16 for 27, 213 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Lugo falls short, 34-20, looking to see if they get the victory coming into week 2. Let's move on to Rancho Cucamonga, 13, Apple Valley 12. Yep, it was a 1-point victory for Rancho Cucamonga. They actually suffered several key offensive starters or injuries, and so that's probably why the score is not as strong as we saw Rancho Cucamonga the week before. CJ Tiller, the quarterback, 20 for 34, 211 yards passing, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. And Jason Harris with 10 receptions, 49 yards. And so Rancho coming out 13-12 on top. Pasadena 35, Glendora 10. The score, Glendora now goes to 0-2. And in that ball game for Pasadena, Indiana Weege, the quarterback, 178 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. And Balin Brooks, the wide receiver, 95 yards and catching 2 touchdowns. So Pasadena goes to 1-1. Damien coming back with the victory over to Loyola, 34-7. Damien now 1-1, 401 total yards for the Damien Spartans. 258 of those coming in rushing, 143 yards in passing. They held Loyola to only 12 yards on offense in the second half. And Damien's Steven Chavez, the running back, 18 carries, 141 yards, 1 touchdown. Zachary Aguirre, 15 rushes, 92 yards, 1 touchdown. And Dylan Gutierrez, the quarterback, 7 for 8 and 1 touchdown. So Coach over at Damien High School, Coach Bechtel getting the win and his team going 1-1. Another score, West Covina 44, Los Altos 14, the final score. In that game, West Covina only led 16-14 at the half. That means Los Altos didn't score anything in the second half. West Covina, you do the math, scoring another 30, what is that? Some 24 more points there. 44-14, the final score. For West Covina, they rushed for a total of 451 yards, folks. 451 yards. Zach Requena, the quarterback, 19 carries, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Thomas White, the running back, 19 carries, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. I'm sorry, that was 6 carries, 139 yards, 3 touchdowns. But check out that final score. The Bulldogs get the victory. They go to 1-1. Los Altos 1-1 as well. Charter Oak, the Chargers, and head coach Dom Farrar, great friends of the show here and all of us here at Sports Scene TV. And of course, their legend coach and his father, Captain Lou Farrar, always in our heart, gets the victory. This is their first game of the season. They had a no game in week 0, 38-24, the final score. Charter Oak quarterback, Richie Munoz, the senior. Check that out, folks. 355 yards passing, 5 touchdowns. 1 TD was for 85 yards. He's a transfer from LaSalle, but check that out. I know if you remember us following Charter Oak in the past, they actually had we were talking to Coach Lou Farrar at the time that they had quarterbacks left and right. Even his grandson stepped in and he says, "Here at Charter Oak, we have quarterbacks, coming, falling off the trees." And they actually found one here, but a LaSalle transfer in Richie Munoz. For Northview, Keanu Tauvau, the running back with 240 yards, 3 touchdowns. But, amazing with the throwing arms. So keep an eye on Charter Oak. Let's move on to Pomona and Gary. 47-14 is the final score. And let's go ahead and move on to the next slide. Hoover 14, Ganesha 6. This Ganesha Giant alum. A little sad to see the final score, but it was a close one. They kept it within decent range. Colony 26 over Corona Santiago, the Sharks. Colony with the victory. Sonora 48, Roland 7. The week before, Roland had the big win, but looks like Sonora came in and swept them away in week 1. Roosevelt, Corona 56-6. If you remember, folks, a while back, this is pre-COVID, we covered Roosevelt against Corona, and Roosevelt just had Corona's number, and it looks like they still do. 56-6 a score. Remember, in week 0, Coach Tom Leach got his 100th victory, so now it's his 101st career victory. Lakewood 16, San Dimas 7, Chaffee 46, and the Eagles 18. And that is going to be it for our scoreboard. And again, those were all your week 1 scores. We're glad you could join us. And like we said, if you've got comments, send them to us. So we've got here, actually says, are you going to show the Diamond Bar versus Covina game? We will not be out at that game, unfortunately, but we want to let you know, though, that if you are at a game, please send us your team scores, any stats, your photos and videos. And how can you do that? You can get us on Twitter at Sports Scene TV. On YouTube, you can tag us Sports Scene TV1. Instagram, Sports Scene TV1 as well, or on Facebook, Sports Scene TV. And then, of course, definitely our website that is at sportscenetv.net. So thank you for that comment. We will not be out at that game, but we will be out at future ones. And in fact, we definitely want to invite head coach Matt Castaneda of the Brahmas on, former Los Altos quarterback coach, has a lot of experience at other high schools and making a stop at Diamond Bar. But we're definitely glad you sent in your comments. So again, if you want to send in your comment, all you got to do is just give StreamYard, which is the platform we're streaming right now on live, permission. And then just as you saw that comment pop up, we'll do that. So guess what? It's time for segment 2 coming up. We're going to take a quick break. And coming up next is head coach AJ Gracia of the Ayala Bulldogs. And right now we should say the hot on fire. I think I mentioned the temperature being hot, and they're maybe the reason why. I think the way the Ayala Bulldogs have been playing, they're 115 degrees too. So don't go away. You're watching the SportsSceneTV.net live weekly prep sports podcast. I'm Anthony Serenana. We're going to take a quick break, so don't go away. Coming back is going to be head coach AJ Gracia of the Ayala Bulldogs. So don't go away.
High school sports are one of the things that make living in California so great.
But sometimes the behavior in the stands can overshadow our achievements on the field.
I love it when my parents show up for me.
But being booed for missing a play could be crushing.
And remember that refs are people too.
They're trying their best to call a fair and correct game.
Hey, and enough with all the swearing.
No one should feel insulted or ashamed
because of their race, ethnicity, or gender.
We should be able to hold our heads high after the match, win or lose.
And welcome back, everyone, to the SportsSceneTV.net weekly prep sports video podcast. And it's now time for segment 2. And in segment 2, we always bring in a special guest, and it can't be more of a special guest than this gentleman we're going to bring in right now. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Head coach of the Ayala Bulldogs, Coach AJ Gracia. And Coach, it's been fun to see you, grow as a coach and see that program mature as well. And just like a fine wine, this team is off to a hot start. But let's chat a little bit about how many years it's been so far for you over at Ayala High School now.
Yeah, we're going on year 7 as a staff. I got hired in 2016, so that was our first season. And just blessed to still be here, and the support from administration and all the coaches that have been there since day one. And those are the coaches who have kind of helped me along the way, and it's been a fun ride.
Now, have you gotten to the rotation now where all these students that you are coaching have been around since you've been coaching there at Ayala, or has it been already a rotation already that's gone through once?
Yeah, we've had now this is going to be our 3rd graduating class. So actually 4th. The first year was that 2019 season with our first 10-0 season. That was the first full graduating class we had. And then the COVID season was the 2nd. And then the 3rd was last year. So this is going to be our 4th class to come through. And that, it's just, it was nice, 4 years ago, and it's kind of continued through there. And I'm excited to see this group through.
Now, one thing that we've seen is this program really come to fruition and shine under your leadership. With your time there at Ayala High School, what would you say are some of the I guess life lessons or things that you've learned as a head coach with these young players?
I remember when I was a player, and you always remember the coaches that cared for you, that wanted to see you succeed and did everything to make you successful. And I had great mentors, Coach Munger, Coach McCain, the guys that coached me and helped me out and still send me texts and are still on the sidelines even to this day supporting me. And then I've got coaches on my staff that coached me or coached against me when I was a player at Chino High. Coach Montello's on staff, Coach Size, Coach Beatty, Coach Strong. So it's been a great pleasure to coach with them, and again, care for the boys, do what's in their best interest. Again, we're kind of fortunate to be here every other year and get another season under our belt. But these seniors, they're getting ready to play their last game at some point in the season, and so we just want to make sure that they enjoy being a high school football player, because not every one of them is going to get to go off and play at the next level. And even the ones that do, sometimes they're going to look back and go, dang, I had it pretty good in high school. It was pretty darn fun before it became a business. And so I just want them to enjoy their time here at Ayala High School and enjoy playing football, because, it's a great sport. And I want to see these guys, if they started as freshmen, I want to see them finish as seniors.
Well, you mentioned some really great names as coaches, and one of them being Coach John Monger, and seeing you taking the helmet there at Ayala High School and seeing the legacy that you're building there. I think Coach John Monger is going to have some great company with you coming up the ranks as well, and definitely wanted to pay that compliment to you, because you're definitely a shining beacon there for that program. So definitely wanted to pay compliments to you, because I know the whole community, when we talk about Coach Gracia, they all just light up because of the great person that you are, not only on the field but off the field as well. So let's go ahead and switch gears, and let's focus on those young men that you are coaching. I mean, you guys are off to a hot start. They're saying the weather's getting hot. I think Ayala football is attributing to that change in temperature. Let's chat about those young men. We've had an opportunity to see Brian Wilson, your quarterback, start off in his freshman year there, grow to be a very talented young man as a junior, has one more year still with the program. And then you also have other players on your squad as well. Let's chat about first the young men that are taking over for those who have graduated, because I believe you probably have had so many players leave due to graduation.
Yeah, last year we definitely had some great years in the Carthen and Cole Drew Merrill, and we had an O lineman in Evan Mouet, and some great receivers and DBs, and so we've really had to fill in some big shoes as far as leadership roles and as far as players, and so Brian Wilson being there is obviously a great help. Having your quarterback returning, but on top of that, we've had some transfers come in last season, and now they're fully embraced into the system, and it's been great to see them kind of take over that leadership role. But it's really been on offense, all of our returners returning back from last season that have just kind of hit their stride and kept us moving. But I've been really impressed with Coach Cedergren and Coach Calderon, Coach Lopez, and Coach Ramirez on the defensive side for getting these some younger defensive guys, a little bit inexperienced in certain areas, really playing some great defense to start the season.
Yeah, I mean, you held Etowanda to 7 points, and Etowanda is a program that we've known for a long time that has always had deep rosters. Their strength is there, and your performance for your team last week just, really shined. Let's chat about a little bit about that ball game, and if that's pretty much indicative of what Ayala football is looking like this year. I mean, you mentioned Brian Wilson. I mean, the young man's a junior quarterback, and he looks amazing. The one thing that comes to my mind seeing him as a freshman till now is just his speed, the quickness of how he just gets rid of that ball, and he's able just to, find an open receiver. I mean, that just has to be something that you really can't teach. That seems like it's just, just his natural ability right there.
Yeah, I mean, he's put in a lot of hours, a lot of time, a lot of practice times outside of just the normal spring ball, summertime, and season. And really, with the great help of his one of his quarterback coaches, Jerry Davila, who coaches up the youth out here in the Chino Valley area, he's one of those guys that has big, strong hands, so he could really grip the ball and throw it from anywhere. And honestly, he doesn't even have to grab the laces. He just catches the ball and throws it. And his quick release has really been allowing us to, use the play action and the RPO game to get it to our athletes' hands. And, they've been making everyone else look good.
I mean, is this going to be the new norm for Ayala football? Do you have another freshman in the woodworks here?
It was just a weird coincidence. I know it was interesting to have Cole McCain for 4 years as a starter, and then all of a sudden just, we were very fortunate to get Brian Wilson, and, he took the lead, and, COVID season was a little bit later than normal, so it allowed him some time to get ready. And, once he got that opportunity, he didn't let loose. And, he's had a tremendous start to the season, over 500 yards throwing, 7 touchdowns. And, that's in addition to some of the runs that we've had with Marquise Monroe rushing for over 200 yards in the first game. So it's been pretty balanced, and it's exciting to see what these guys can do.
I mean, you mentioned Mr. Monroe. He's a returner as well, and he knows the program very well. And when you talk about speed, what do you charge him up with? Extra strength energizers or what? I mean, the kid is fast.
Yeah, we've had a great tradition in the last few years, and our track program, the girls and the boys, I think they're going on 6 and 7 league championships back to back to back. And we've really put an emphasis on our skill players running track with our running backs coach, who's also our sprinters coach, Coach Size. And if you look at all of our times and our numbers, we had the first, the second, and sometimes the third place finisher in the 100, the 200, the 4x1. And so Dominic Alloway, Marquise Monroe, Latalian Payne, these guys all ran track. And, even some other guys on the defensive side that, maybe didn't put up the fast numbers, but they all got faster this offseason. And at the end of the day, speed kills. And, with Brian Wilson, with Marquise Monroe, and then the receivers we have outside, it's a good problem to have, to try to get the ball into all these guys' hands.
It makes sense now when watching the game footage from last week against Etowanda. Some of these passes were very minimal yardage passes. It's until your receivers caught the ball, and those gentlemen that you mentioned, they were off to the races. So, that's really, not for Ayala, but for everyone else, that's definitely an unfair advantage. I don't think any amount of strength training is going to be able to catch a track star that does that, on a regular basis. That's definitely an advantage that Ayala football is going to have.
No, absolutely. I think we've had a 70-yard run in the first game. We had I think almost 90-yard touchdown pass, a 50-yard and a 60-yarder. So we've very much early on shown our capability of having some explosive plays. But my favorite part also was that last game was a 9-minute drive. I think it was about almost 15 plays to milk the game and end the game. And I still got to give credit to our O-line and our O-line coaches for making sure the quarterback has time to throw, and then really making sure those running lanes are open for our group of running backs. We've got several of them that can do some damage.
No, absolutely. And we had an opportunity to meet a group of your O-line several years back before COVID. I'm sure a lot of them have graduated now, but let's recognize some of those players that are on that O-line that are definitely making the ability for Brian to have time to throw the passes and make those holes open for your running backs. Who are those young men that we're going to be seeing on Thursday or Friday? Or no, Thursday. It's a Thursday football game. That's right.
Actually, the same center that you interviewed about 4 years ago, his younger brother, Joseph Lopez, is our starting center. He's a senior. To the left of him is Andrew Slater, another senior. To the left of him is our young junior, Nico Partita. And then on the right side, we've got Blake Harmon, another returner. And then finally, Merrick Becerra, returning from a knee injury from 2 years ago. And so really all of them are somewhat of a returner, and they're all big size. They can move. They've got some aggressiveness to them that it's really going to bode well. So we can, I'm looking to have some explosive plays, but then also lean on those guys when we need to, because Coach Parks, Coach Beatty, and Coach Reams have done a great job at getting those guys ready. And we've always hung our hat on running the ball and being physical up front. And, I think we're still going to always have that attitude, but now with the skill guys we have in the passing game and Brian Wilson, I think it just adds another layer to our offense.
Let's talk about the defensive side, because they kept Etiwanda just to 7 points. And I mean, again, Coach Baez over there at Etiwanda last year, I mean, they made a playoff run as well, just as you did. So they're a top-notch program. I mean, let's give some of those defensive guys some recognition as well to hold them down to just one touchdown. Who are those young men we're seeing line up on the defense?
Yeah, I've been very impressed with the guys up front. They're all a little inexperienced compared to the group we had last year, because we had 3 guys graduate. We had David Saravia, we have Yared, another senior. We have Raiden, and we have a younger player who's kind of more of a linebacker, but we put his hand in the ground, Brandon Townsville. And those 4 up front, with the mix of some other guys, have really held it down, has reset the line of scrimmage, put pressure on the defense. And then, we've got a young, fast linebacking crew that have, really done a great job against the run and the wing tee against Torrey Pines, and then, did a great job in the spread versus Etiwanda. We have 2 safeties returning, Enrique Ibanez and Tommy 2K. And then our corners have been pretty spectacular so far. You still have Marquise Monroe, who can play corner for us, Dominic Alloway, the 2 track stars. And then we also have a transfer in, AJ Lavelles, who's been tremendous with a cast on one arm, and he's still been able to cover up guys and play some physical defense.
I mean, we're just into week 2 coming in here, so actually the 3rd week of this season. But as head coach, seeing how your team is firing pretty much on all cylinders, are you ahead of schedule? Are you right where you want to be? I mean, is there really anything more else that you want to see improved as you get into weeks 4 or 5 and then you get into league play?
Oh yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of things that we missed a couple of throws here and there, and I think the O-line and the running backs can still get a little bit better and the timing down. But I think we definitely have been a little bit more ahead of schedule on the defensive side of the ball. We thought we were going to take some lumps early in the season, but the season's still early. We're going to face a tremendous opponent in Lusinger on Thursday night, and so we knew offensively we would be able to hit the ground running just with all the returners. So I kind of expected that. Our coaching staff did, but there's still plenty of ways that we can improve. We still got a couple young fullbacks that I think are going to continue to get better to help us out in the run and the play action.
Let's talk about your team that you're going to be facing up against this Thursday. Obviously, your schedule is tough, and no one would expect it otherwise for Coach Gracia not to pick a tough schedule to get ready for league season. tell us about what you know about your opponent this Thursday and what they bring to the table and what you're going to have to do to get a victory and go 3-0.
Yeah, I mean, they only have one game on film. It was against, one of the top teams in Southern California in Edison, and they're a physical team. They're going to be very big. They're going to be one of the biggest teams we've ever faced, from top to bottom. They've got several Division I athletes that can take the top off as receivers, as safeties. So we're going to have to play a complete game, special teams, offense, and defense. This is going to be a close game. We've got to be ready to fire on all cylinders from the very beginning. And just like any game, it's going to come down to turnovers and execution and penalties. And so I think if the team that can avoid the bad penalties, avoid the bad turnovers, maybe make a play here and there on special teams is going to win the game.
And, the one thing that we should let everyone know, and my appreciation is you taking the time out to chat with us. And what I think helped out was, this hot weather. You mentioned, we're practicing a little bit later, so the temperatures cool down. Hopefully Thursday night, though, I know the temperatures are supposed to spike up big time. How do you prepare that as a coach and also for your players with the key of safety in mind?
Yeah, we actually weight lift in the morning, so that allows us to avoid some of the heat and, get even some of the conditioning and recovery done in the mornings. And then we're going to practice in a little bit here and then tomorrow night as well. So hopefully that allows them, at least their bodies, to not take too much of a pounding from the heat. But we've been harping on them, our strength and conditioning coach and our coaches, eating and hydrating starting yesterday because it's only going to get hotter. And, just making sure they get their electrolytes in and their rest. And, this is what it comes down to. If you want to play at that elite level, they got to take care of their bodies like an elite athlete. And, it starts today, starts tomorrow, and then it'll finish up on Thursday. So we can't just try to drink a bunch of water on Thursday and expect it to show up.
Well, we're going to get ready to wrap up so we can let you get ready for your practice. But before I do let you go, is there anything you wanted to mention about the team, about fans coming out to the game on Thursday? It's a Thursday night game, not Friday, so make sure they know that as well. I made the mistake by saying Friday night when it was actually Thursday. But is there anything that you'd like to close out before we say goodbye?
No, I thought we had a great turnout last Friday by the fan base, by the students and the community, and I hope they continue to support. We're putting a great product out there that's fun to watch. And, I know I'm offering extra credit in my class to the students who show up. So I know it's a tough one on a Thursday night, but, we'll need all the support we can get. And, it's a far travel for them. So we'll see how they travel. And, our band does such a great job of bringing the energy, our spirit squad. So I think we'll have a great turnout and the boys will be ready to play and it'll be fun and it'll be hot, but hopefully that breeze comes through and it'll cool us off a little bit.
Well, who knows? Maybe that'll be an open invitation after the victory. The kids can give you a nice water bath with that ice water from that Gatorade bucket.
Would be refreshing.
Well, Coach, again, thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for taking the time out to chat with us. Again, we wish you and your team all the best and throughout the year, and we'll see you out there this Thursday.
Thank you, Anthony.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it'll be segment 3 here on the SportsSceneTV.net weekly video podcast. Don't go away.
High school sports are one of the things that make living in California so great.
But sometimes the behavior in the stands can overshadow our achievements on the field.
I love it when my parents show up for me.
But being booed for missing a play could be crushing.
And remember that refs are people too.
They're trying their best to call a fair and correct game.
Hey, and enough with all the swearing.
No one should feel insulted or ashamed
because of their race, ethnicity, or gender.
We should be able to hold our heads high after the match, win or lose.
And welcome back, everyone, to the SportsSceneTV.net weekly prep sports podcast show. I'm Anthony Serenana. And again, a big thank you to head coach AJ Gracia of the Ayala Bulldogs. And I mean, one of the nicest and greatest guys, coaches that are out there. And that's one element of what we do here at Sports Scene TV is to be able to spotlight and shine those people that are really making a difference. Not only showing the X's and O's, but also being a mentor and, showing these our youth about being productive citizens, being good members of the community, and also doing well in the classroom. So thanks to head coach AJ Gracia, which I believe they're still practicing. We recorded that early because of the temperature. Coach Gracia had to change the practice time. And so again, come Thursday, those temperatures are really going to spike. So with the remaining time that we have, very little left that we do have, we like to remind you that you're watching the SportsSceneTV.net weekly prep sports podcast. We're live every Wednesday at 7 p.m. So be sure to join us. We love to see your comments. So if you log on either through Facebook or YouTube, it may ask you to give StreamYard access to your computer. It's just so that way it will communicate with the infrastructure, and then we can post up your comments along with your avatar as well. To join us on Twitter, that's where we do a lot of our live game updates on Thursday, Friday, and even Saturdays. It's at Sports Scene TV. And then if you want to see a collection of all of our videos from the past, well, we go all the way back. Head coach Derek Bubb over at Chino Hills, Coach Roddy Layton over at Diamond Ranch. I mean, you name it, we've got a long list of highlights. So definitely want to take a look at that. It's at YouTube, Sports Scene TV 1. And then also on Twitter, we're now on Instagram. So you can find us on Sports Scene TV 1. So with the remaining time that we have left, let's go ahead and bring up the schedule for week number 3. So as we spoke to head coach AJ Gracia, they are hosting Lusinger on Thursday, tomorrow. And as he said, they are 0-1 Lusinger, but they played a huge Edison team out of Huntington Beach, 31-22. They lost. Their record is 0-1. For Ayala, they're 2-0. He said big D1 kids over there. It's going to be a test for them. Should be fun to watch. I know my partner, Brian Gillette, is an Edison alum, and he'll tell you there's some big boys over there. Glendora is going to face Charter Oak. That's going to be a very good matchup to see. Glendora goes into the matchup 0-2, Charter Oak 1-0. And again, with that quarterback over at Charter Oak, Mr. Ritchie, wow, the arm on him is amazing. Bonita is going to play LaSalle. That's a Thursday night game. Bonita is 1-1. And if you remember, Bonita comes into this week 3 matchup after a win traveling to Las Vegas. They played Mater Academy, East Las Vegas. They had the victory 38-6. They're going to play LaSalle, who is 0-2. Altaloma is going to go to Colony. Altaloma is 2-0. They have a victory against West Covina and Don Lugo. Colony is 2-0 as well. So you have 2 teams that are matched up, 2-0 each. Temecula Valley and Corona Santiago for Colony. Should be an interesting game and a good matchup to see which team comes out undefeated 3-0. Somebody has to, unfortunately, lose on that one to get the one loss in the column, but we'll see. Altaloma versus Colony. Then flipping on, JW North is going to travel to Chino Hills. JW North is 0-2 against the Chino Hills Huskies, 2-0. And it'll be fun to see the Huskies play this ball game and see if they can get away with a 3-0 undefeated record. And with new head coach over at Chino Hills, we'll also look to invite him as well to introduce him to the whole community. You can find out his philosophies and his experience coaching and much more. Pasadena is going to travel to play Damien. Pasadena is 1-1. Damien is 1-1. This is a Thursday night game as well. Etiwanda looking for that first victory of the year. They are 0-2. They will play Rancho Verde, who is also 0-2. So both teams come in looking to get that first win in 2022. Rancho Verde 0-2 as well, as we mentioned. Thursday night game too. Guess we're getting a lot of Thursday night games, which makes it fun because then, you can do a game Thursday, watch a game Friday. And if there's a game on Saturday, you've got 3 days in a row to watch football. Let's take a look at Upland versus Villa Park. Upland comes into the game 1-1. They come in after a 24-7 loss over Orange Lutheran, and Villa Park is 1-1. Let's go ahead and go on to the next slide. Hawthorne is going to play against Don Lugo. Hawthorne is 1-1. Don Lugo 0-2, trying to pick up that first victory. Crescenta Valley versus West Covina. Crescenta Valley is 0-1. While West Covina, coming off that big victory against Los Altos, comes in at 1-1. And then rounding things out, we have Roland versus Wilson, 1-1 for both teams. Montclair versus Pomona. Montclair is 0-1. Pomona's 2-0, trying to keep that undefeated record going. And then the Walnut Mustangs, who we covered in week number 1, they're 1-1, go up against Los Altos, who's 1-1 as well. That's a Thursday night game. And the one game that we did not get on there, actually 2 of them, and that was because of one of the questions reminded me from our comment, and that was going to be Chino versus Baldwin Park. Baldwin Park is coming in with a record of 2-0 versus Chino 0-2. And then that Covina at Diamond Bar, Covina comes in at 0-1 and Diamond Bar 2-0. And, we talk about how the schedule is going. Go ahead and get me on full screen here. The Thursday night games, again, could be from lack of officials. We know there's been a shortage. And, of course, we know there has a long discussion going on with officials and, the treatment they receive, the fans in the stands, and why we have that CIF PSA that we run. Just to remind everyone, we're all out there to have fun. So those are the upcoming games for week 3. And we're going to head out to Ayala High School tomorrow night. We'll be covering that game against Lusinger. And it'll be fun to see Brian Wilson and crew showing off their strengths. But again, Lusinger, a very big team, like Coach Gracia said, D1, big boys. So that'll really put them to the test. Again, we want to remind you that you can follow us for game updates at Sports Scene TV on Twitter. Also, don't forget, if you want to send us your team scores, stats, photos, or videos, send them on over to us. You can email them to us. If you ask, how do I email you? Well, all you have to do is go to our website, sportscenetv.net. And again, we want to remind you, every Wednesday night, we are here live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. And then, of course, you can always watch the repeat. And we welcome you to do that. If you're a player and you are interested in us spotlighting you as a student athlete, let us know. Get in touch with us on either of our social medias, again, Twitter, Facebook, or even our website. And we'd love to have you on and spotlight you for your accomplishments, not only on the field, but also in the classroom as well, and what you're doing in the community. So again, we want to thank you for joining us here on the SportsSceneTV.net weekly prep sports podcast. I'm Anthony Serenana. Until next Wednesday, we'll see you out on the football field Thursday night. It's Ayala at home against Lusinger. See if they go 3-0. And everyone out there, have a great night. Stay cool out there. Stay hydrated. And we'll see you again next Wednesday. So long, everybody.
High school sports are one of the things that make living in California so great.
But sometimes the behavior in the stands can overshadow our achievements on the field.
I love it when my parents show up for me.
But being booed for missing a play can be crushing.
And remember that refs are people too.
They're trying their best to call a fair and correct game.
Hey, and enough with all the swearing.
No one should feel insulted or ashamed
because of their race, ethnicity, or gender.
We should be able to hold our heads high after the match, win or lose.